It is exactly 10 p.m. and welcome to UBC News Tonight with me, Sharon Chomjasha, with Mugalu Mohammed on Sanangut. A very good evening. Let's take a look at the top stories of the day. In UBC News Tonight, Major General Tafide meets Buganda members of Parliament over massacre anxiety. Still to come, leaders in Greater Massacre asked to identify residents. Minister for Presidency monitors massacre security. And lastly, in our sports news, cyclists ride 6,000 kilometers in quest for a unified, greener East African community. In our top stories of the day, residents of Mpasana in Kakumiro district have welcomed a new Health Center 3 to improve their health. Now the center, constructed area woman member of Parliament Robina Nabanja and supported by the community, is estimated to have cost 67 million Ugandan shillings. Nabanja officially handed over the health center to Ministry of Health for official management. Details follow.
When Prime Minister Robina Nabanja visited Mpasana Health Center 3 in early August 2021, it was for purposes of progress assessment. In company of other ministers, she had hope in the capacity of this facility to serve the people of Kakumiro and the surrounding areas.
Ebisigadde okukolebwa. We are yet to complete this place. Mundomo namazadde okuleta tiles mita 10 ezigenda okutuyambako okusiba ebinaabiro.
1 month later, another inspection has been conducted, but this time on an already constructed and completed facility, ready for handover to government.
I'm really happy. This means that in our constituency we are getting development.
It was constructed with support from the community for improved service delivery.
I want to encourage my people to use this facility. Nkwenda mukolese ilwaro lino, use this facility. Tuli hamu mulalikolesa. Abakazi ababaire ni bafani muzarani mugamba timwina okubatwala barazaliro mu ilwaro.
Women are already giving birth from this facility thanks to efforts by Area Woman MP Robina Nabanja.
I am handing over the facility to you people of the district. Cow, I have handed over the facility. Madam Minister, I have handed over the facility. Madam PS, I have handed over the facility. Director General, look after your facility. It is now not in my hands.
As she received this facility on behalf of government, Minister for Health, Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng, lauded the Prime Minister for this milestone.
So mine was to look for money, buy cement, buy bricks, and pay the workers. And of course, I also bought iron sheets and these other things we have used to construct this health center. I want to encourage Ugandan leaders to stop the habit of only blaming the government. We can also do something.
Even when you read the Bible, they talk about men, but meaning everybody. So this fisherman coordinates all the ministers. And apart from coordinating us, she also has a constituency to take care of. So my appeal to you is when she disappears a little, don't think she's gone. She has work to do.
Excited residents could not hide their appreciation to the head of state for citing and making active Nabanja's service capacity.
But Your Excellency, I want to thank you so much. Thank you for giving us a Prime Minister who is hardworking, and I know you gave that position to us that we should bring development in Bunyoro region.
Mpasana Health Center 3 is designed to cater for all categories of people, including outside patients, expectant mothers and children, among others. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Now, the NRM National Vice Chairperson Alhaj Chigongo has advised leaders in Greater Masaka not to blame security forces for not doing enough to contain the current matters, but strive to find a common solution to put an end to the heinous acts. Now, Alhaj Chigongo was today leading a team of NRM leaders who visited Masaka to ascertain the situation on ground. While interacting with NRM district and sub-county leaders in Masaka City, Alhaj Chigongo blamed the murders on the laxity of local council that had abandoned their core role of village vigilance but are mainly focusing on land transactions. Now, the Director of Mobilization at the NRM Secretariat, Rosemary Seninde, who accompanied the Vice Chairperson, blames the insecurity in Masaka on the youth who do not want to work but resort to drug abuse. Luengo District LC5 Abdu Chitata warned that anybody who is involved in the killings to watch out, saying Luengo District has resolved to take on the perpetrators head-on. Now, meanwhile, the NRM mobilizer in Masaka, Peter Senkongu, wants security to investigate further the suspects who have been arrested, alleging that some of them are in custody for what he called misunderstandings in their areas of jurisdiction. Chigongo assured the people of Masaka of government's commitment to end the attacks and bring the criminals to justice. The Minister of Internal Affairs, Major General Kahindo Tafire, has assured the people of Greater Masaka that government is committed to ensuring an end to insecurity. Tafire was meeting members of parliament from Buganda sub-region and asked for their cooperation to bring peace in the area.
They cut both my hands, the thumb.
Their wings to other districts in the Central Region. Minister of Internal Affairs, Major General Kahindo Tafire, has summoned leaders in the Buganda region for a meeting aimed at finding solutions to the insecurity threat in the region.
That I'm responsible for internal security. Internal security involves everybody in this country. These people I was meeting are the elected leaders of Masaka about what we are doing to ease the situation and to ask for their cooperation, for them to also participate in the eradication of insecurity in that area.
Tafire said, working with leaders in the region, the current insecurity will be stamped out.
I can assure the people of Uganda that we are going to do our best to overcome, to eliminate that insecurity. We are going to do our best as government to eliminate that insecurity. But you see, it takes two to tango. I am appealing to the local people of Masaka to help the security organs to overcome that insecurity situation.
Meanwhile, the chairperson of Buganda Caucus, Muhammad Mwanga Chivumbi, dismissed allegations that the murders are politically motivated.
If there are people who want to gain support and to remove government through other means, you can't go and machete them, kill them, and at the same time seek for their support. So for us, we urge government to desist in putting on the political spectacles on this matter. We believe and strongly so that this matter is a security matter, can be addressed fair and square, and it's their responsibility.
This is included. Who do you talk to? Do you talk to the bishops? You talk to the politicians? Yeah? If politics is part of the problem, how do you sort that out? Do you talk to the bishops or the politicians? Yes, if politics is involved. And it's also unfair to generalize and say all the leaders, elected leaders of Masaka are involved. No, some may be involved, but others are not.
Legislators have now set off to Masaka to interface with the affected, whom they believe will speak out on who is behind their troubles.
We want to find out the nitty-gritties, whatever is happening in Masaka. Yes, I know we have received reports here and there from the minister, but I think it is not enough. When you have eyes on, it's always good to be informed when you have eyes on. Masaka is next to Kalangala. And we have a saying in Buganda, "Omulirano gwokya bbiri." You don't know what might happen in Kalangala. So I want to go and find out.
Over 60 suspects have so far been arrested. At least 10 suspects were remanded at Masakasaza prison on Wednesday after being charged with murder. Bernard Higa, Parliament.
Well, still about Greater Masaka, the Minister for Presidency, Millie Babalanda, is in Masaka region over insecurity in the region. She has challenged local leaders to stand to the threats and mobilize the people to defend themselves. Babalanda believes that the criminals want the masses to gang up against the government. We have details on this story.
The 2 days capacity building session for RDCs, RCCs, RPCs, DPCs, DSOs and intelligence officers has started in Masaka City. The session is geared at monitoring and evaluating government programs towards socio-economic development and the state of security in Greater Masaka. Whereas there is domestic terror in Greater Masaka, crimes conducted using guns have progressively reduced.
Approach of using forensic techniques where murderers can be easily identified on the basis of fingerprints and gun details. This may be the reason why the criminals have resorted to stabbing knives and pangas. However, the NRM government, under the leadership of General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, will not be defeated using this rudimentary strategy.
Minister for Presidency Millie Babalanda has encouraged security operatives in Greater Masaka to break the machete-wielding attackers' networks.
These criminals have the idea that their actions will disorganize government from focusing on developing the nation, such as implementing the NRM manifesto, cause panic in the public and create a sense of helplessness and insecurity, which will lead the masses to gang up against the government.
Wide-scale and countrywide community policing, mobilization and sensitization by leaders is one of the key recommendations to address insecurity in Greater Masaka.
There should be 24/7 security surveillance by the police. This surveillance should be extended beyond the town areas to the lowest levels possible. The members of parliament and LC5 chairpersons should own the campaign against the enemy by being accessible and available to guide the electorate.
Toll-free lines and telephone numbers have been availed to the public by police for effective information sharing and whistleblowing.
0392 17 75 83. Another number is 0709 01 08 02.
The recommendations are part of the measures to be undertaken to deal with the current insecurity in Greater Masaka. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News in Masaka City.
In more news, the National Drug Authority is demanding for the amendment of the National Drug Authority Act to enable them deal with the menace of drug theft in government health facilities effectively. The board chairman, National Drug Authority, Dr. Medad Bitecherezo, told the visiting delegation of the Health Committee of Parliament that the existing lacuna in the current NDA Act has complicated their work.
Delegation of members of parliament attached to the health committee arrived at the National Drug Authority headquarters in Kampala at exactly 11 a.m. The committee was headed by the chairperson, Dr. Charles Ayume. The board chair of the National Drug Authority, Dr. Medad Bitecherezo, received the delegation of MPs to the newly built home and headquarters of the National Drug Authority. However, speaking to the delegation, Dr. Bitecherezo stressed the need to amend the National Drug Authority Act, whose present defects have complicated the mandate of the authority to convict those deemed suspects in the curtail of drug theft in government health facilities.
We catch people stealing government drugs. You take them to court. They say we store the drugs. The lawyer looks at the judge looks at the law, and you say either you pay 1 million or I put in prison for 6 months or 1 year. Now thieves are enjoying that law. You steal, they go to court, they say we stole. Then they are given that one. They are even given options. A man has stolen 1 billion worth of drugs. Then he says, I stole the drugs. They say we are charging you 1 year in prison or 1 million cash. The thief pays 1 million only. So we are saying, please, Parliament, help us and give us a law that will become too punitive, so that we can manage these people that are stealing government drugs, hiding behind the law, because the punishments are very weak.
The complementary medicines bill, which is before the president for him to assent to the bill, I think also needs to be fast-tracked, because it is this same authority that regulates traditional medicine. And traditional medicine is where we came from, but history has also shown us that they are rogue herbalists. And we have to prevail over them, we have to rein them in, they have to work within a framework. So we shall have that conversation with His Excellency the President to see why this bill should be assented to at the earliest, so that National Drug Authority can do their work effectively.
Dr. Bitacherezo told the committee members that most of the drugs stolen from Uganda end up in South Sudan and some parts of Congo and the Central African Republic.
Members of Parliament, I want to tell you this. If the drugs of Uganda were being given to Ugandans only, the budget that you appropriate the Ministry of Health will be enough. But brothers and sisters, the drugs of the country are being siphoned out of government facilities by some of the health workers, not all of them, and they collect from Chitoro up to Nimule. And I can tell you authoritatively that the Ugandan government, the Ministry of Health, is looking after the entire population of Ituri region in Congo. But the people who are taking our drugs are Ugandans.
Apparently, the leadership of the National Drug Authority has spent over 14 billion shillings to put up this magnificent structure, which is now the permanent home of the National Drug Authority. However, a lot of work is still needed to have the over 10-storied building completed. Bitacherezo revealed that his efforts to bust the drug theft cartel has always been affected by the suspected thieves who are highly connected. However, he assured the MPs that the authority is committed to the fight against the drug theft as long as Parliament assures them support.
So please, in case mafias bring me to Parliament for interrogation, I want you to sympathize with us. You should know where we're coming from. And I can tell those fellas are connected. Once you catch him, he goes on a petition to the Speaker.
Zahara Abigaba, UBC.
Now, the newly appointed Resident District Commissioner Luengo Haman Sentongo has pledged to unmask the masterminders of the killings in the district. This follows attacks by machete-wielding thugs on residents in their homes at night in Greater Masaka districts.
The new Resident District Commissioner Luengo Haman Sentongo partly blames the security situation in the area to local leaders who don't have detailed information of residents. Sentongo has appealed to local leaders and the community to volunteer vital information to security agencies.
If we protect our sources, if we encourage our people to volunteer information, and they can only do this if they know that whoever they are volunteering information to is going to act on this information in confidence and solve the problem.
He has called upon the security agencies to act on the intelligence provided by the communities.
To appeal to all security agencies that receive intelligence information from our population to act on this intelligence in confidence and also appropriately and effectively and also quickly, and also to guard our sources. This is happening by and large, but like in any organization, there are bad apples.
Sentongo, who was earlier this week assumed the leadership of Luengo from Mitiana, assured residents that government has the capacity to apprehend and prosecute perpetrators.
Form of intelligence, the most effective source of intelligence is the source from the people themselves. So confidence building measures are underway in Luengo and also in Greater Masaka of ensuring that our people, the local councils, our people, the religious leaders and other leaders in community are empowered to volunteer information.
The investigations reveal that the night attacks are executed by organized criminal gangs. Security forces now focused on establishing the motive of the assailants. Haruna Mutesasira reporting for UBC News in Rengo District.
Thank you so much, Haruna Mutesasira. The Minister for Kampala, Hajat Misa Kabanda, has led a team of KCC officials to Buganda Kingdom head office for a working visit. Hajat Misa Kabanda said that the voice of the Katikiro is so much heard and respected by the subordinates of the Kabaka, and asked him to put much emphasis on the benefits of the Myoga project. Kaya reports.
Kampala leaders have visited Buganda Kingdom to introduce themselves to Buganda Kingdom and also look into ways of alleviating youth from poverty. The leaders were led by Kampala Minister Hajat Misa Kabanda, who asserted that Buganda youth have been led astray by the political wave, hence the need to be sensitized about the Myoga project.
Since he has also accepted, we shall get time and ask him on our behalf to teach people of the youth in Kampala, because sometimes when he teaches, they listen. So we need him to assist us, like he's been assisting us in villages in giving out seedlings of coffee. He gives seedlings, similar seedlings, but people prefer taking particular seedlings than UPDF seedlings. So he will assist us also in that program.
The Katikiro of Buganda, Charles Peter Mayiga, informed the delegation from the Ministry of Kampala that the kingdom is ready to work with them.
For that reason, the Kingdom of Buganda is very ready and willing to work with the civic authorities in charge of Kampala and the political authorities in charge of Kampala, so that we give our face a deserving look. The city of Kampala has certain things to be worked on. For example, cleaning it. We can work together, we can initiate programs for cleaning up the city. I think cleaning the city is one of the simplest things we can do, because it may not be as expensive as infrastructure. As an example, but we can work together and clean the city. We can plant trees and vegetation. We can work together in endeavors to create jobs, especially for the young people.
Charles Peter Mayiga says the Kampala ministry has a duty to play following the poisoning of the minds of the youth in regard to activities of government.
Anyone who understands that the Kabaka is the custodian of our heritage is welcome here any day, any time. And I very much want to work with the politicians from the central government, because both you and us serve the same people. When we work together, the ordinary person is going to benefit. So you coming to Bulange is a very good gesture, especially when you are still young in your appointments. And we shall do whatever it takes to ensure that your service to the country is successful. And we shall always be around to render you support as you support us. And we work together for the benefit of the people of Buganda and all Ugandans.
He says there is need to work together and serve Ugandans irrespective of their political affiliation, tribe or religion. The Katikiro warned politicians from over-politicizing projects that seem beneficial to the electorate. Sudat Kaye, UBC.
Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development has through its Uganda Women's Entrepreneurship Program intensified its efforts of empowering women. The latest avenue has been through a consignment of motorcycles to 8 districts, purposely to women groups identified by National Women Council.
Eight districts of Kalaki, Kasanda, Pakwach, Kazo, Rampara, Kitagwenda, Madi, Okolo and Karenga have benefited from the Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program.
The importance of this program, which the Ministry has been running, is to target those grassroots women, disadvantaged women, not the type that can easily access credit from big financial institutions. So we are looking at the lowly, the poorest of the women.
This program is housed at the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development with a consignment to districts including motorcycles, laptops and printers.
Districts that they never received motorcycles in the past have been complaining, and now we are able to give them, and also to make sure that every district receives a printer. All of them had received computers from us but didn't have printers. Now they are able to have them. So we are happy that at least we are filling in the gaps of those things that they were needed to make the web program runs better, and to ensure that the women are able to be served better.
It's channeled through National Women Council, whose Executive Secretary Collins Mwijuche is optimistic that many women will benefit under government's newfound parish development model.
The National Development Plan 3 puts women's empowerment as one of the key pillars that the government is going to continue focusing on, so that they get women out of poverty, and those that are still in non-income economy are uplifted.
So far, more than 170 districts have benefited from this project, with more than 75% payback, which has enabled the revolving fund to grow and grant other women easy access to loans.
Now, Gomba Resident District Commissioner Stephen Asimwe has cautioned residents against engaging in land matters that are before courts of law. He was holding a security meeting at Bufampa Village, Buluada Parish, Kabulosoke Sub-County in Gomba District.
There is a need to restore the area to come back to normal.
Gomba Resident District Commissioner Stephen Asimwe has asked residents to shy away from land conflicts for peace and stability to prevail in the area. The land wrangle is between Aloysius Kakande, who bought the 1,650 acres of land in 1982, and Awan Ruvima James, who purchased in 2014. The two have been squabbling over Block 138 in Gomba District, with each of them presenting a land title issued by Ministry of Lands.
So katingazi nga police ndinchirekera court ne determining ownership. Two, Mr. Kakande waru chendaba, you are trying to favaruano kuyambi. Yet it is not our role.
Kakande told the meeting chaired by the RDC that when he bought Block 138, it had plots 2, 4, 5, but when Ruvima bought Plot 6, he was instead issued with a certificate carved out of Plots 2 and 5, making it 380 acres.
Location surveys spending million soba mwabi ngasa soda location surveys kwekamba nzinsobedwa kati onge yazze juzi buyalabirwa nakabuyo yena atandika okugira kiki oganti ettaka kanditwale kansibone sengenge kakandi banakwata ku sengenge tujja musiba era kati kiki bana ibanga sengenge mujenga neta royalanga bajja kusiba ettaka liriyo naye olina okuyita mitendera ki.
The meeting was attended by the OC, Kabulosoke Police Station, and officials from the Police Land Protection Unit from Kampala.
Meeting wadde yakola bantu zawe mirembe waleme kubeera nti batema embuzi zaffe waleme kulaba nti kubaka bakwagana meeting alagira tulindeko bwana court order endala eneddako tujja kubeera nga tukola ki tukomawo ate atusomere ebyo binabivudde mu court order.
RDC Stephen Asimwe warned residents of Buluada Gomba district against defying court orders, advising that once the court has ordered that nothing be done, no one should do any activities on the said land until court decides otherwise.
RDC tetujja kukola kulaba nti twogera ne resident state Anthony kulaba nti emisango gy'amataka bajanguwawo abantu ne batatanga naye tubadde tubasaba mulabe nti mwena munoonye ki masiki munaabe mu ngalo nga bwe tulinda.
The RDC urged Kakande Aloysius to fast-track the court cases with his lawyers so as to avoid bloodshed. He urged the locals to learn to live in harmony with neighbors, especially regarding allowing each other's animals to access pasture and water.
The truth can delay, but it will reach.
The Burada Parish Councillor Katerega Emmanuel castigated Ruvima for using force as he constructed a fence around the disputed land and for denying animals to access the only water point in the area.
Tugenze mu makoti musango gye guli mu kooti zaasooka ne ziyimirira tugamba muyimirire nange kennyini wano najja lumu nali nnoonya abalalo bange kubaawo we nali nnondira ente ne bajja n'emmundu ne bakwata ne bankuba musango ne bantwala wa DPC Kanoni ne mpaaba omusango gwange nagwo.
Now, the Bishop of Karamoja Diocese, the Right Reverend Joseph Abura, wants a compulsory and forceful education in Karamoja in order to end insecurity in the sub-region. This was during the meeting with the two ministers of Karamoja Affairs, Dr. Mary Goreti Kitutu and the State Minister Agnes Nanjutu at the regional offices of the Office of the Prime Minister in Moroto District. Details follow.
How long can we go this morning?
An estimated 75% of the people in Karamoja sub-region are unable to read and write, a reason why some are preoccupied in criminality. Now, the Bishop of Karamoja Diocese, Joseph Abura, says unless government conducts a compulsory and forceful education to every Karamojong child, insecurity will not end. The Minister, Karamoja Affairs, Dr. Mary Goreti Kitutu, supported the idea.
The children to go to school, we should be prepared to aid them, to aid the schools. In terms of food, in terms of other scholastic materials, like books, like even free education. And for me, we paid, in primary one, we paid only 2 shillings. Even that might have to be reduced so that many parents can afford. But the government should take the bulk of fees and of other requirements. Otherwise, this is just going to be some story altogether. We must come in with huge planning, with huge strategic planning.
Also, Bishop, when we are talking of this education,
it is
women also, once we target the women also, can be another area where we can be able to change. Of course, the girls also are very vulnerable, young girls.
Bishop Abura explains on how it should be done from primary to tertiary level.
The children that come from the village are going to fill the schools. And then the products after 4 years will now need what we call tertiary institutions here in Karamoja, schools. Maybe for certificate and diploma. If you have a school in Kabong to handle agricultural whatever, and then for certificate and diploma. Then you have another one probably in Contino for other technology. We want NTC here, National Teachers College here. We want these diploma courses here in Karamoja so that children now will get this certificate and diploma after senior 4 or senior 6. They will get this.
Kitutu.
The State Minister of Works and Transport, Musa Echweru, has warned encroachers on Uganda railway land and metal fabricators who vandalize railway lines that they will be brought to book. This was made during the unveiling ceremony of 3 modern railways locomotives worth 42 billion Ugandan shillings procured by government from Gridrod Railway Company in South Africa.
Railway transport is known for transporting bulk products and merchandise across East Africa. The corporation recently procured 3 locomotives, each with a maximum of 1,500 tons at 1% gradient with a lifespan of 35 to 40 years. The facility has been launched at Uganda Rail Corporation in Kampala by the State Minister of Works and Transport, Musa Echweru.
The Honorable Minister and his board in the
These locomotives are to provide an additional support to other locomotives to rail cargo to and from Kampala, Malaba, Eldoret, Naivasha. Echweru committed government his total support to ensure the railway stays afloat.
The government, I want to say that the Uganda Railway Corporation will never go back to the state at which it was until a few months back. We are going to revive it. We are going to put resources in it that will make it really a corporation that will save our roads by removing some of the heavy luggage.
He, however, warned encroachers on railway land premises and advised them to vacate immediately, issuing a strong warning on metal fabricators who vandalize the railway lines.
Encroachers should have left our land yesterday, and I have used this chance to warn, particularly some of the politicians in the areas where the railway passes, who continue to say no, the encroachers have a right to stay in what is supposed to be railway property. That is criminal. Nobody should get railway products and think he's a business person. Nobody should get railway products and think, and in fact, I am happy with this, one of the companies which has been helping us to arrest them. As you come and offload the railway products like rails, they help us, they ring the police, and we have been arresting them.
The managing director of Uganda Rail Corporation, Stanley Sendegea, said the corporation is to repair the old fleet of locomotives to extend full service delivery to the clients.
We packed because of maintenance, because the entity was literally down. We are going to repair all of them, refurbish some of them, and have them back running. As we said, under the project of ADB, which is going to start maybe next year, we are going to refurbish some of those locos, and we are going to buy more new locomotives. All in all, we are also going to buy passenger coaches, and we are going to buy also wagons. So it's a whole project that to bring back the railway to survive, to live.
Stakeholders like companies that transport bulk merchandise are happy with the procurement of the locomotives and demanded the cost per ton to be revised.
So we really should embrace this business. Of course, managing director with your commercial team and the board, the issue of cost per ton is a big issue which we have been discussing, and we need to see how best to go about this in order to try and encourage many more people to use rail transport.
Ivan Juko, UBC News.
Well, UBC News Tonight will take a short commercial break and we'll be back with more news.
Today in history.
3rd September 1783, representatives from the United States, Great Britain, Spain and France signed the Treaty of Paris. The signing signified America's status as a free nation, and the boundaries of the new republic were agreed upon. This was after the American Revolution came to an end and marked the end of the last major battle of the Revolution. This treaty is not to be confused with the Treaty of Paris of 1763, the treaty that ended the 7 Years' War.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.
Getting GoTV was the best decision James has ever made. Finding a good place to watch football was never easy, but it was costly until James discovered something big. Now he can finally enjoy the benefits of homegrown advantage with a decoder and 1 month of GoTV value. For just 25,000 shillings, enjoy the world's biggest leagues and cap competitions. GoTV Uganda, love it.
My home, I smile when I think of you, Uganda. My home. My home, I dance when I look at you, Uganda. My home, oh my Uganda.
I know with you I'll always stay forever. I
belong together. My home, my home. Under the sun so bright, under the moon at night. On my heart, mommy, oh my Uganda.
Hey, mama.
My Uganda. My Uganda. My Uganda. My Uganda. Nikukunda. Uganda. Amari, alemira. My Uganda.
Nyowe nikugonza.
My Uganda.
Amina ngojo. Amina ngojo.
At MTN, we look forward to starting another exciting journey together to grow our home, Uganda. Brought to you by
Transact 5 times or more using Center Mobile, Center Visa, and Center Agent to stand a chance to win. The more you transact, the higher your chances of winning. So, participate in the 545 jackpot and win millions in daily and weekly prizes. The 545 jackpot is brought to you by Centenary Bank, our bank.
Well, we'll come back from a short commercial break. In our business stories, groups that benefited from MUGA funds in Rubaga division have asked for an increment because of the increasing numbers of members. Now, this has been disclosed by Michael Mjisha, representative of Rubaga people living with disabilities, while meeting the ministers in charge of the MUGA project. Members were, however, urged to avoid self-seeking politicians and focus on development.
Ensobi ze tukola kwe kulaba nti ate ffe tukkiriza ezaffe emisaala tetubabulya nababulya nti batusasudde kati mwezammwe bwe zijja ng'ate bo bagamba mwe sente ezo temuzitwala Museveni ali mubagulirira sente ezo mbi.
Despite the challenges faced by some MUGA projects by some groups, beneficiaries in Rubaga division have performed well. Michael Mugisha, a leader of people living with disabilities in Rubaga division, says on receiving the MUGA cash, they decided to save and combine the money with Rubaga North and South members to meet their needs.
Twebaza nnyo Mr. President ku lw'ekintu kino nti programu y'emyoga eno bangi erina weetujje era tulabanga erina gye tutwala nti tusobodde okubaako ne wetuva okuva lwe tutandise okufuna kasente kano mu kabanga ak'emyezi emitonotono.
For Chitebi Fishmongers MUGA Circle, Najemba Beatrice said they dispersed 28 million shillings to members and have so far saved 7 million shillings. She asked government for support due to the overwhelming number of members in need of the program's funds.
Era twongera okwebaza abakoordinata baffe ba CDO batukoze kuba ebbanga lyonna lye tumaze nga tubatawaanya kino abantu bwe batulemerera nga tubayita tebatujjangako yadde 10. Era tubadde tusaba Oweekitiibwa His Excellency President nti wetugenza okumalirayo abantu baali tebakitegedde luli kati olwaleero ku bantu 15 nga Sako beerina waliwo abantu 7 abagalo tweyongerako.
State Minister for Microfinance Haruna Kasolo asked members who wish to join MUGA groups to get letters from the resident city commissioner confirming their address. He, however, warned them from self-seeking politicians if they are to develop.
Tulina advantages nyingi wano e Kampala ne mukozesa akatale akabali Kasubi akatale ak'Nakasero akatale aka Kibuye gwatudde wana ndaba otundayo.
The Minister for Kampala Hajat Misa Kabanda said government does not discriminate beneficiaries of the MUGA funds and urged women in leadership to educate their fellow women. However, the MUGA funds have brought divisionism among members that have not received the money, and the Minister of Finance has been asked to intervene. Officials from the Ministry of Finance and leaders are on a fact-finding mission to ascertain whether the MUGA funds made an impact so that Kaye, UBC.
Still with business news, government will not soon open schools but is working towards a COVID-19 safe and free learning environment. The State Minister for Higher Education, Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo, says that schools will be reopened after counter consultations and cabinet approval. Now, Muyingo has been releasing the November-December 2020 Uganda Business and Technical Examinations at UBTEB in Tinda, Kampala.
A number of people are anxiously waiting for the reopening of the school's calendar, having spent close to 2 years now with children at home since the COVID-19 lockdown in March 2020. The State Minister for Higher Education, Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo, says Ugandans need to be patient as government finalizes with preparations to safe opening of schools, including vaccinating at least 65% of teachers.
It's not true that government or my ministry has come up yet with the dates for school reopening. This is not true. We have not even come up with a formula how this is going to happen. We are still planning. We are consulting. At an appropriate time, a formal communication will be made.
Muyingo was officiating at the release of the November-December 2020 Uganda Business and Technical Examinations.
In order to secure the future of our young people, government is continuing with a progressive reform agenda in the education sector. We have made plans to modularize technical, vocational education and training in the National Development Plan 3. This will boost productivity and technological advancement for sustainable development.
The Executive Secretary, Uganda Business and Technical Examination Board, Onesmus Onesije, says 75% of the 15,019 candidates passed, although there was a slight decline as compared to November 2019.
Out of the total of 16,144 candidates that registered for examinations, 15,019 candidates representing 93% turned up seat for their different course units, while 1,125, representing 7%, missed one or more modules.
Onesmus says that the examination body successfully trained assessors of the competence-based education and training.
And the board has found competence-based assessment instrumental in grooming TVET products to find relevance in the world of work. And the board is making extra efforts to modularize assessments in order to meet the country's Vision 2040.
The board chairman, UBTEB Engineer Silva Mujisha, says the board has entered strategic partnership with agencies like Uganda Industrial Research Institute, National Water and Sewage Corporation, Uganda National Chamber of Commerce and Industry to fast-track linkage of competence-based curriculum to industry.
These collaborative arrangements, the quality and competencies of TVET graduates will be enhanced. Linking assessment to the industry will speed up the process of skilling and innovations uptake.
The examination results include 164 students in advanced craftsmanship, 11,747 national certificate candidates, 2,664 candidates from community polytechnics, with 1,365 candidates in business certificates and 2,004 business diplomas.
Now, the High Court in Kampala has this Friday, 3rd September 2021, temporarily halted any further development or activity on the Semiliki Walk Road, Folio 33, Plot 2, located in Kampala Central. This injunction has been issued by Justice Ziditun Sachintu, following a suit by Ivan Beruhanga, working on behalf of Ntaganda.
But on what basis are all of you police here?
Landirangos between 1FM Taganda and Damin Group Limited has taken another twist following High Court's intervention. Though this is a matter which has already been addressed by the High Court and a status quo court order and a suit issued in favor of the initial leaseholder, Damin Group Limited, a fresh court order has been issued.
we agreed inter-party that the status of the property is maintained as is. Each of the parties should remain where they are. No development should be done on the property, and that none of the parties should have any activity in the land.
This Friday, lawyers of the concerned parties have engaged the High Court to forge a way forward.
So this being an interim application order, we shall wait for the main application that is going to come up on the 14th.
The issue came to the limelight last Sunday when demolitions and vandalism of properties at the contested land occurred.
Intimidating you.
Okay,
There's no policeman who is intimidating
but
you.
But on what instruction are you here to do what? Keep whose peace? Who filed the complaint?
We are maintaining the status quo as it is.
As properties were destroyed, tenants now want court to direct for fair and timely compensation.
In the event that any of the parties breaches the terms of the order, then the aggrieved party will go to court for what they call contempt proceedings to punish that party who has gone against such an order.
The matter is now set for this month on 14th for the initial hearing, as normal activities are accepted on the premises and police is directed to offer full protection. Nantong Rebecca, UBC News.
China National Offshore Oil Corporation, CNOOC, is currently rolling out a second phase of the livelihood program to compensate the economic standards of oil and gas projection affected persons in the Chikove district. Over 290 project-affected persons have been inducted into embracing commercial agriculture, mainly in poultry, livestock and crop farming enterprises.
The CNOOC Livelihood Program is an intervention for oil and gas project-affected persons meant to restore while improving their livelihoods. This program addresses the agriculture and livelihood component by providing agricultural extension, veterinary and farm input services.
Today we're here to witness one of our many livelihood restoration programs, which is handover of the poultry enterprise to the host farmers. These are the people whose land we acquired for development of our infrastructure, including the facilities down at the Puka Flats and the feeder pipeline that is approximately 50 kilometers long.
So far, 5,000 chicks have been given to 10 groups, 18 goats to 18 host farmers, 9 Boran bulls to 9 host farmers, and 45 pigs to 9 groups under the supervision of Living Earth Uganda, an agricultural organization.
When we came here, we did a baseline survey which helped us to understand their performance level in terms of production. And we were able to realize that they had issues related to productivity and production at the same time. They lacked knowledge in what they were doing in terms of skills. They had limited access to improved seeds and knowledge as well. They were also relying on local seeds which cannot meet the climatic changes that are happening now.
At least 680 persons were affected, and so far 291 have benefited from the program.
And even after building these structures, we would go up to check whether they have put the necessary disease control components in those structures. And that would qualify one, that is a group, to receive the input.
Despite receiving the livelihood program, the former landowners tasked stakeholders and government to ensure fair land acquisition rates that do not leave them at a loss.
They compensated us, but unfortunately we didn't bargain. We did not bargain at all. They could say we are going to pass here minus bargaining, yes, we agreed.
When they measure your land, they say it is the government to value, government value, to value it. But we don't know how much he values that land. We don't know how much he values one inch or 1 meter.
The program is projected to take 3 to 5 years in Kaboya, Changwali and Buseruka, with support from CNOOC in partnership with the district leadership, undertaking the monitoring to ensure its sustainability. For UBC News, Wadulo Makanold in Chikube.
Digital financial technology developers want the government to relax on the taxes imposed on the sector if the country is to achieve from digital economy. The cheap accessibility to these digital platforms, if well managed, expected to improve in financial inclusion. Details follow.
High costs involved while transacting using digital platforms still affect the country's target of achieving e-commerce. Scattered infrastructure also limits younger innovators to come up with relevant financial solutions.
Can't trade more, buy and sell more because they're using cash. It means that therefore it's taking them longer to get out of poverty. So it has affected our overall economy, because if we're looking at an economy which is trying to have less poor people, as long as digital transactions are expensive, we will continue to have more poor people because poor people will not adopt them.
While exhibiting new financial innovations, fintech architects decried the high taxes on financial digital platforms, despite the sector being on infantry.
If you're going to drive digital economy, then the operations of being digitally included should be lower. Otherwise, you resort to cash. So that's the big challenge that we've got, and the big opportunity to make sure that we can continue making mobile money as seamless, as simple, and as cost effective as possible, so that we can move people and move their transactions from cash into digital.
Platforms like mobile money would be a good deal. However, there is a need for interoperability principle to create one-stop center for more inclusiveness.
Level 1 principle looks at governance of these kinds of platforms that is shared. It isn't like one entity that comes up and say, I'm the owner of everything interoperable within this market. We need to look at a level whereby something like this becomes shared, as is even driven by the level 1 principles.
Complications while accessing and subscribing to these digital platforms, especially documents, sometimes scare away potential subscribers.
Now, don't exclude them because they don't yet have a national ID. Have a mechanism in place that says someone without a national ID, maybe your LC writes a letter for you, and then I can at least open for you an account where you can do a maximum of 100,000 shillings every month. At least you broke them the next step. So a principle like that is very important. There is a principle about real time. Prior to mobile money, the bit instant and real time was not existing in our ecosystem. Now, mobile money made things different, whereby you're sending a transaction to someone, you're initiating a transfer, you expect them to confirm within 1 minute that they receive this. Now, we can't take this for granted.
Trying to make sure that there are less poor people and there are more people who are in the formal economy, formalized to some extent economy. We're all driving towards the same point. So all these players have to come together. You can't expect just the private sector to work at it. Even the regulators have to be.
For the attainment of a digital economy, government through regulators and private sector needs to work not in isolation so that no one is left behind in financial inclusion. Abdul Nasser Lubwama, UBC News.
Was brought to you by
The 5 for 5 jackpot is brought to you by Centenary Bank, our bank.
In our sports news, Uganda's national basketball team, the Silverbacks, head coach George Napolas has highlighted reason why Uganda lost to Cape Verde at the quarterfinal of the ongoing Afro basketball tournament in Rwanda.
Yeah, it's always disappointing a little bit when you lose after you truly expected and thought that you were going to win. This group went into this game believing wholeheartedly that we were going to win, and sometimes you don't get what you want, and it's not the end. I'm extremely proud of this group, proud to coach them, proud to be included in this, happy to be a part of this and a part of a great group of people and something very powerful that's moving in the right direction. From that standpoint, I'm not disappointed. Proud of the guys, proud of their effort, and I'm really excited for the future of this program. We fought, but our inability to convert offensively off of their turnovers. I think we forced 22 turnovers and only had 17 or 18 points off of those. That's our best offense, is converting off of turnovers. So if you were to look at it from a schematic standpoint, I think that we did our job defensively for most of the game, I think, and we just didn't convert on the offensive end. We didn't shoot it well. I thought we passed some open shots up and didn't convert well at the rim. So sometimes the ball doesn't bounce your way, and it just is what it is. And They're a great team. They got great players. They're experienced. It was a great challenge for us, and we were right there to the very end, but just wasn't in the cards for us tonight. I'm proud. I'm very proud to be a part of it. I'm very grateful that I've been given the opportunity to coach this team. The players that we have, the people involved, staff, management, the coaching staff, support staff, all the players, just very good people. And I'm nothing but grateful to be a part of it. And I'm excited for the future. I really am. And I'm humbled. I'm humbled to be a part of something that means so much more than myself and my own individual goals. To get everybody together and to push towards something that has such an impact on so many people, other than the group that we have here, is very humbling to be a part of, and I'm grateful for it. In a perfect world, you'd love a little more preparation time. It's difficult under some circumstances, whether it's COVID or funding or support, whatever the case may be. But I think we got a lot of guys coming from a lot of different places. So for the next tournament, seeing is how well we did in such a short period of time.
Well, thank you so much for watching UBC News Tonight with me, Sharon Chomdisha and Mugalu Mohammed on Sign Language from the team, and I have a lovely night and a great weekend ahead of you.
Thanks for tuning on UBC. Kutesa Mili with your weather. Hope that we are still having thunder showers in most parts of our country, and they woke up with thunder showers across Kampala, some parts of Entebbe, and some parts of around Lake showers. And that brings us to the highest of 8.9 millimeters of rainfall across Tororo, Soto with 3.1, Kampala with 3 millimeters of rainfall, moving with the lowest of 2.2 millimeters of rainfall. This is influenced by Congo air mass that is blowing towards our country, enhanced with the local effects that includes our Lake Victoria, bring us the isolated thunder showers that we are experiencing lately. Tomorrow morning, though, we expect to wake up with thunder showers still across lake showers that includes our capital city Kampala and some parts of Masaka, but the rest of the country is expected to continue with sunny intervals. Afternoon hour, though, we expect a pickup of thunder showers almost in every part of our country, apart from some few areas across Karamoja region, that is Kotido and Moroto, and some few parts of southwestern of our country, that includes Kabale and Barara. Temperature is up to 29 degrees of maximum across northern part of our country and some parts of Karamoja, but across lake showers with 27, capital city Kampala with 26 degrees Celsius, Kabale Highlands with the lowest of 23 degrees Celsius. News moving out of Uganda to our Gaza cities across the globe. We are forecasting sunny intervals across Hong Kong, Washington DC, and London, with a maximum of 20 degrees Celsius across London and 31 degrees Celsius across Hong Kong. Tokyo with light showers at a maximum of 24 degrees Celsius. Thanks for tuning on UBC once again. I remain Kutesa Mili. Stay tuned and see you tomorrow.
Join us from Monday to Friday for Good Morning Uganda with me, Felix Nkunda.
Priscilla Naloda.
Robert Chirabo.
Molen Kenyana.
Ruben Mpimba. With all the morning's essentials,
including the very latest in news, traffic,
weather and sports.
Live on TV and across all our social media platforms. Hashtag UBCJMU.
Hope you'll be setting your alarms, cause we are looking forward to seeing you then.
This is Good Morning Uganda. Up next on UBC, brought to you by
Keep the lights on. Use Airtel Money to pay for all your Yaka bills conveniently. Open the My Airtel app to buy Yaka units. Airtel Money. Simple, secure, borderless.
Nice to know ya. Let's do it. Nice to know ya. Nice to know ya. Nice to know ya. Let's do it. Nice to know. Let's do it. Nice to comes trouble, here comes the danger. Here comes trouble, here comes the danger. Sent by the Savior, welcome the Rasta. I know you start to cook, soldiers,
Even the government agrees. He's a dangerous DJ.
Can't stop DJ done, no man.
DJ done playing the original authentic Badman Garden.
Let me ask you up to the time, you know.
DJ Dan, DJ Dan, the dancehall master.